So thank you to everybody in Auckland for continuing to play their part, and thank you to businesses for their patience.
Hello and welcome to Business New Zealand Policy Roundtable for Monday, the 31st of August. I'm Grant Walker. Well, the GCSB has issued an advisory for all Kiwi businesses as the New Zealand Stock Exchange suffered a fifth straight day of outages. The advisory warned of a campaign targeting of a number of global entities, mainly in the financial sector. Also, of course, you may have heard media. The advisory comes from the GCSB's National Cybersecurity Centre. Small businesses without their own IT department are advised to contact another Crown agency, CERT New Zealand, and that was set up to advise individuals and small businesses on where to turn in law enforcement or in the IT world if they suffered a cyber attack. Business New Zealand CEO Kirk Hope says businesses should look into cyber insurance and implement two-factor authentication for both email and any banking transfers. If there are any changes to personal or banking details, businesses should get on the phone and verify the changes with the other party. Well, recent news that work on Transmission Gully will be completed in September 2021 has been welcomed by Wellington's business community. In fact, Business Central CEO John Milford says while he was disappointed in the Transmission Gully delays resulting from the COVID Level 4 lockdown, he's pleased that a resolution has been found and work can now, of course, resume. Last week's Business Response Panel, hosted by Business Central and the Wellington Chamber, gave businesses an update on the current COVID state of play, what the economic picture looks like over the coming months, and how businesses should respond to the changing alert levels. Panellists Paul Mackay, Rachel Simpson and Stephen Summers agreed the current situation is an incredibly fraught time for businesses, and having the most up-to-date information and advice was critical. And in fact, joining me now with more detail is Business New Zealand Employment Relations Manager Paul Mackay. Paul, the rest of the country, level 2. Auckland was 3, now 2.5, although really does it make a difference, because at the end of the day you're still only allowed 10 people in your shop, and that's not going to help a lot.
No, it won't help them. It certainly won't get them off the ground in the way that other parts of the country have. It will keep life slow, and let's just remember that we have not yet seen a complete containment of the disease in Auckland, and so the extra precautions I think are quite valid.
And what about the nervousness with people now, with Aucklanders being able to travel around the country? And of course, no one blames people if they get COVID or anything like that. It's really important that we don't do that. But is there that fear that now that we've opened the borders, if you like, that it will spread?
Well, there's always that fear because we don't know for certain what the origin of the current cluster is. The authorities have said that they have yet to pin down exactly where that started. So there's always that little doubt that something might creep out. All that says really, though, is it's a low level of probability because there's a very high level of containment in Auckland, but it does mean that people should take all those precautions. The recommendations to wear masks are not for fun, they are serious, and that is one of the ways we can protect ourselves against that small possibility that something creeps out of Auckland.
And I think those codes in the window too, I went down the shops today, and pretty much they were all there. I think I only found one that I couldn't see it. So people seem to be complying with what they should be doing.
I think it's a new habit that people are getting into. I know I'm doing it myself, but I see people doing it. Every person entering a shop that I'm seeing is stopping and registering that code. So I think we're seeing a good level of compliance, and I think that augurs well for how we manage this.
It normally takes me half an hour to get into town. It takes me 10 minutes at the moment. What do you say to businesses when they ring you and they say, look, we're still finding it hard?
And that's understandable because that low level of traffic means there are less people coming into town. It's probably a product partly of people still taking precautions and many people working from home. But that means less people through the door of shops. And so what we say to businesses, particularly if they're in retail alike, is search for those ways where you can connect with your customers online or through non-contact side of things. And on service businesses, get that e-connection thing going so that you can start keep your business going in ways that you haven't done necessarily so much of in the past.
It comes back to service again, doesn't it?
Always to service. If you've got something to offer and to sell, find ways of connecting with those customers that don't require you to see them or touch them in the way that we did in the past.
What are you hearing most from businesses this week now that the alert levels have changed slightly?
Well, they're seeing a continuation of pressure. When level 2 is still relatively restrictive in the sense that you can't have big gatherings, so the big conferences, the big events that people have got some cash flow out of, sports events, they've all been big returns for not just the sports events but the retail sectors that support them. Without those sorts of things, we won't see a return to scale. We'll be down at the low level of business that we're currently seeing for quite some time, I think.
It's another week. I think the government are looking at this again next Sunday about the alert levels. With COVID still, well, the numbers still, we get 9s or things like that at the moment. The odds are that we won't be going down to level 1 at any time soon, or there might even be a 1.5.
There's certainly some signals from government that they'll be cautious about bringing us back down to no restrictions, as long as there's any presence in the community. And I think last time we went down to level 1 after a period where we had nothing in the community. I suspect that we'll see a similar level of conservatism around and caution around that going forward.
So don't wait for the customers to come to you, don't wait for them to come into the door, sit there, think, look at maybe the list of customers that you have, your databases, get out to them, reach out to them, make offers to them, and just make them want to buy something from you.
Exactly, and the more that you can get that connection through non-contact services, using the distribution networks and things that are growing by the day, people are making their livings again in these new ways, and it's opportune for everybody to look at how they can do that for themselves.
And at the end of the day, you guys are here to help businesses, and you've got lots of ways they can get in touch with you if they have issues.
Absolutely. I mean, the phone's open, the emails are open, and it's a question of start that discussion. What can be done? What can we do to help? Who can we talk to you on your behalf? They're all part of what we do.
Appreciate you talking. Thank you.
Thank you.